thought Barbara was going to be...
Mayor, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council to order, March 3rd, 2016, at 8 p.m. On roll call, council members Coletti.
Here.
Churdo. Here. Dombrowski.
Here.
Giandomenico.
Here.
Martino.
Here.
Vansino.
Here.
Mayor Mola.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Will everyone please rise for our prayer and flag salute? Oh God, our Father, we ask you to bless our meeting which we trust in your fatherly care and protection. Please remove all prejudice and plant therein the keen heart, excuse me. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice and plant therein the keen sense of justice for you and our neighbor. Guide us in our deliberations so our decisions will always please you and bring peace and happiness to our community. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Whereas Chapter 231 of the State of New Jersey requires the commencement of each meeting, a statement by the presiding officer, now therefore be advised, meeting requirements of this meeting have been posted in an annual notice in the Record of Hackensack and the Herald News of West Patterson by posting such notice in the office of the Borough Clerk, as well as in the public place within the municipal building and notifying interested citizens. Said notice was posted on January 1, 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is also on our video, and it's also on cable and Verizon, and that'll be channel 77 on cable and channel 40 on Verizon. It'll be on Monday at 2 p.m., Thursday at 4 p.m., and Friday at 10 a.m. So if you want to watch, or on our website, okay?
Mayor, this evening, under the approval of minutes, we have the February 4th, 2016 special joint meeting with the Library Board, February 11th, 2016 work session, February 18th, 2016 regular meeting, and the February 20th, 2016 special work session.
May I have a motion on all of them, please?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Vansino, second.
Second.
Mr. Martino, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Mayor, this evening, we have the appointment of our newest police officer, Resolution R87-16, appoint police officer Emmanuel DeGennaro, the Elmwood Park Police Department. Be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the following names be and is hereby appointed as a police officer in the Police Department of the Borough of Elmwood Park, Emmanuel DeGennaro of Woodridge, New Jersey. Be it further resolved that said appointment is in accordance with the intergovernmental transfer process as promulgated by the New Jersey Department of Civil Service Commission, and be it further resolved that remuneration is set forth at a rate of $44,813 effective March 3rd, 2016.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Mr. Vansino, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Churdo. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Coletti.
Yes.
Churdo.
Yes.
Dombrowski.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Martino.
Yes.
Vansino.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Before I swear the new officer in, I just want to indicate to you here that I was reading our prayer, which I've done for many, many years, and I got nervous about it because I saw all the police back there, and I said, is somebody after us up here? Thank you for coming, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Mayor, at this time, I would ask the honor guard to please escort in our newly approved police officer, Emmanuel DeGennaro. If everyone would please rise. I'd ask Officer DeGennaro's family and the officer to come up for the installation. Mr. Mayor? Please be seated.
Will you repeat after me, please? I repeat your name.
I, Emmanuel DeGennaro,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of
all the duties of
a police officer in the Borough of Elmwood Park.
a police officer in the Borough of Elmwood Park.
Congratulations. This is not going to be his uniform, but we're going to put the badge on him anyway.
Thank you, thank you.
Good luck. Stay
Thank you.
Are you lefty? You came this way. Usually I go that way. Congratulations.
Backwards sometimes.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Just don't drive back. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Safe. Thank you. It's more important.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Elmwood Park Police Department, thank you for coming and showing your support for a new comrade.
Mayor, at this time, I'd ask everyone to please rise for the dismissal of the color guard. Thank you. Please take your seats.
Are there any members of the council who would like to indicate or comment on the appointment? Maggie?
Just wish the officer and all of our officers the best of luck while they're out there protecting us and our families every day. Thank you for everything you ladies and gentlemen do.
Thank you. Mr. Dombrowski?
Yes, I also like to congratulate Officer DeGennaro, wish him well, stay safe out there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're able to hire this officer because we will be losing a fine officer due to retirement, Captain Brian DePasquale, and he's here in the audience, and I'd like to say, Brian, good luck to you in your future endeavors. You're going to be missed, and thank you for your service.
I would like to just, again, congratulate our new officer, Emmanuel DeGennaro, to our department. He's joining a fine force, and also to echo Councilman Dombrowski, best retirement to Brian. Wish him all the best, health and happy retirement, and enjoy the next phase of your career in life.
Mrs. Martino?
Well, I know he's retiring, but I'm losing a coach. That's really my concern here with Brian. Just for this year. We had a great year last year, and we had a lot of fun. And so he'll be back next year. And, you know, we have a lot of police officers, but coaches, it's very difficult to get. And he was one of my best helpers, besides my pain in the neck son. So congratulations, and be safe, everybody, today. Thank you.
Again, like everybody said, thank you. It's an amazing job that you guys do. When most people run away, you guys are the first and put everybody's cares above your own and above your families, and you guys are always looking out for each and every person in the town, and we thank you for that.
I'd like to welcome our new officer to Elmwood Park's finest here, and I have to say that I'm very disappointed in Brian. I had figured, Brian, that I'd be going before you. It's the opposite. And just to say, on a personal note, that's a wonderful person there we're losing. And the new guy's got big shoes to fill. Stay healthy, enjoy whatever you're going to do.
Thank you.
We'll miss you.
I'm not going to be far. I'll still be over in Ghana.
I'd just like to make a comment. The newly installed officer this evening has years of experience as a police officer in other counties, so he's not somebody just starting out. He's got many years of experience, and that should do us well here in Elmwood Park. As for Captain, I'm still working on him. He's not leaving. I'm only facetiously, I'm trying to work out negotiations. Your contract at the police department comes up next year, and maybe there's a big raise in there if you think
Easy,
about
Mayor,
it.
2%. Easy.
There's a change in the TO for you.
Easy.
Not for the rest of you, only for him.
Well, and on tape,
Thank you. Keith?
I got to
Mayor, at this
Photoshop
time,
that.
we'll move on to ordinances on second reading. We have Resolution 88-16, introduce ordinance 16-04 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled an ordinance to amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Traffic, and whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, February 18th, 2016, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled an ordinance to amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Traffic be passed on final reading. Mayor will need a motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Boncino, second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Maggie?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go through that name again, Maggie. Anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard? If not, I'll close the public portion. May I have a motion on the ordinance, please?
So moved.
Mr. Dombrowski, second?
Second.
And Mr. G. Domenico. Okay.
Oh, Mrs. G. It's easy. You'll save time. Mrs. G.
Mrs. G.
Right?
Sounds like a
That's good, I
teacher.
like that. Let's do that. Mrs. G.
I want to give something to the council.
Motion made, any comments?
Mayor, if I may, on this ordinance here, I think it's too excessive, the $200 mark, $100 is okay. Little story that brought me to this conclusion. I have a neighbor who lives 2 houses away from me, just 4 years ago moved into the neighborhood. When he first came there, it was just him and his wife. Now it's his wife and himself and 2 children. The fellow works 2 jobs. And I told him up front when I met him, he says, is there anything I should know about the town? I said, yeah, you should pay attention to the snow ordinances, otherwise it's going to cost you money. We had that crazy ordinance where it said if the sun rises at 6 p.m., park your car on that side of the street, and if the moon is full, go to the other side. We've changed that since, and we have a more reasonable snow ordinance. And one night, there was a snowstorm about 2 o'clock in the morning. This gentleman comes in about 3 or 4, and I always told him, beware, stay in tune with the weather reports, because if you're going to come in late, you should put your car on the right side of the street so you don't get a ticket. Well, he doesn't listen. He gets a ticket. He pays the ticket. And since then, he's never made a violation since. So my point is that the summons was working and the amount of money was working. To increase it to $200 doesn't seem fair considering the type of a town we are. This is in Upper Saddle River. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Personally, I agree with Mr. Coletti. I'm not in favor of this. I think it's excessive at $200.
I'd like to make a comment.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All due respect, if this was Upper Saddle River, we wouldn't have parking on the street overnight. So I think the ordinance will shrink that 200-plus number of tickets that we've been issuing during snowstorms.
Councilman, when I said Upper Saddle River, what I meant was the average income to the residents of the town. We don't have that type of income. $100 or $200 to a resident here could be their food bill for the week. That's how I meant it.
And they can park on the other side of the street.
If I may, I'm voting yes for this, and the reason why I'm voting yes for this is because we do have repeat offenders. We've had people personally state to me, I'll pay the fine. It's worth it for me to keep my parking space than it is for me to, I'll just pay the fine. And so there are repeat offenders out there. Ladies and gentlemen, the one thing that is most important here is that our streets are clear and free for our emergency vehicles to get through during a snowstorm. Granted, we don't get 2 feet of snow all the time, okay? But if you know, we're not here to hurt the law-abiding citizens, but the ones that are not paying attention to the law and not paying attention, I could tell you straight out that the police many a times give the resident an opportunity to move their car before they're ticketed, okay? But during an emergency situation, they have no choice but to give you a ticket. And it is very important that we can get our police, our ambulances, and our fire trucks up these narrow streets that we have here in Elmwood Park. So please, you know, this isn't a punishment on the people who are abiding by the law. This is to prevent people from breaking the law. And whether it's 100 or 200 or even higher, okay? There are people, some people say a $75 ticket I'll pay the ticket. It used to be 50. We changed it to 75, and we still gave out 260 tickets. So hopefully, next snowstorm, we'll give out far fewer. And that's why I'm voting yes for this.
Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Coletti,
No?
Churda,
Yes.
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Giandomenico,
Yes.
Martino,
No.
Bonsino.
No.
Okay, we have a tie vote. Mayor Mola to break the tie.
No.
Motion does not carry. Moving on to the consent agenda, we have Resolution 89-16, payment of bills.
Mr. Kazmark, I suspect that at our next work meeting, we revisit this and let the council maybe just bring it back to what the police chief recommended, or less than that. As for people saying they'll pay the fine, I've heard that for many years. And if you ask somebody, you're going to get a ticket, the obvious answer they're going to give you is, I'll pay for the fine. So I think we have to come to a mutual agreement that some people who have trouble, and it's a first-time offense, maybe we should look at it in that sense.
We'll add it to next week's work agenda. Under the consent agenda this evening, we have Resolution 89-16, payment of bills, Resolution 90-16, payment of escrow, Resolution 91-16, confirmation of payroll, Resolution 92-16, redeem third-party tax lien, 8 Roth Street, Resolution 93-16, resolution accepting a grant from the Hazardous Discharge Site Remediation Fund Public Entity Program, Resolution 94-16, resolution authorizing tax exemption for disabled veteran, 32 Cadmus Avenue, Resolution 95-16, resolution to increase hourly rate due to certification in the Fire Prevention Bureau for Stephen Kochik, Resolution 96-18, authorized agreement for short-term emergency share of fire apparatus with the County of Bergen. Resolution 97-16, authorized refunds for the recreation program in the Recreation Department. Resolution 98-16, authorized appointments for the before and after school program in the Recreation Department. And Resolution 99-16 is a resolution to approve this consent agenda.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mrs. G.
Second.
It works. It works. Yeah. Thank you. Second?
Second.
Mr. Martino. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Coletti,
Yes?
Churdo,
Yes.
Dombrowski.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Martino.
Yes.
Bonsino.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, that concludes my portion of the agenda.
Council reports, Mr. Martino.
Today is a story about 3 teams that I've been involved in my life. The one team we just mentioned with Captain Brian, last year, every year we switch players because of the age and everything else. So last year, unfortunately, I got the short end of the stick. I had 7 new players on my team. They came up from the junior division, which they don't get pitched on. So they moved up to a harder division. And I've been doing this for 7 years, and sometimes you get those kids. Not that those kids are any good, they weren't developed to the point of fast pitch. So we had an okay season. You know, we actually ended up 8-8. There was 2 teams that were, one was 16-0 and one was 15-1. They were fortunate because 9 of their players on each team came back last year. So what's going to happen this year, 7 of the players are going to come back to the team we were on. Why am I bringing this up? No one gave us a chance to win any games in the playoffs. We won the first game, okay. The second game, we played against a 16-0 team. So, but before that, 3 days before, one of the better players on our team, I will brag, my son is probably the best, but probably number 1A, his father said to me, I'm sorry, but we had planned a vacation to do of 3 days. And I said to him, I says, you know, your family's more important in this game. I didn't tell the other kids because I knew they'd be disappointed. Because I knew that the other 7 new kids, depending on the 4 kids that I had from the previous year. So I had a plan. Even though it was a team, even though when we have a team, I know I was the ultimate decision maker. So the boy that didn't come, probably might be the best first baseman of the 11, 12-year-old division that we have this year. What do I do now? I couldn't put my son as catcher because eventually he'd have to pitch. And with the rules that we have, they can't catch 3 innings and also pitch. I put him at first base. In 6 years, he's never played first base. And for those of you, this story's going long, it's going to go longer. There's a point to everything I'm going to say. Needless to say, in the 5th inning, I don't know how, we were beating this team. And now, there was probably 100 people there, which for a Little League baseball game is phenomenal. Because it was the semifinals. We were winning 4-3. So what do? I'm thinking that now we have a chance. But before I thought, the only goal was not to get 10-run rule, because when you're down by 10 runs, the game is over after 4 innings, and I didn't want that embarrassment for my kids. We were winning 5-3. I put my son into pitch, he gives up a run. We score another run. Now it's the bottom of the 6th inning, because they were the home team, because they were 16-0. They score another run. He strikes out one kid, another kid goes first base. Now we have bases loaded, and their maybe best player, the coach's son, was up at bat. At that point, I said to myself, what do? I left him in, sweating like crazy. Well, ended up, he struck out the boy. He fell to his knees and was crying. So I said to myself, what am I teaching him? The stress of playing in a little silly game for a team, my son is crying. Was it really worth it? When he got mobbed by the kids, it was worth it to me. Because those 6 or 7 new kids will never forget that game. Because even the parents were with emotion. Fast forward to 24 hours ago. My team made a decision last night. And I guess the word I'm going to call is cowards and gutless. Because I heard this story in December. I heard it the end of November. There was people that came to a meeting last night I've never even seen before. And everybody was panicking. I'm wondering why. Because what we do here, this name does not matter. What we do here matters for the 19 or 1,000, whatever thousand people that we have in our town. Because none of us are bigger than the town. And I was overwhelmed today by the amount of phone call and texts I got when someone put something on Facebook, like a spoiled brat. And I don't mention names because that's not me. The gall to put on Facebook, the amount of people that have called and texted me. My phone, I never really use my phone. I text my wife, I text my daughter. You know what, I have a beautiful phone. It's probably $700, but my wife works for Verizon, so it's free. I wouldn't have a phone like this. But I'm amazed at how many times this phone rang today. It rang more times than it did in the past 2.5 years. So I'm not angry. This is not bitterness. This is not Anything, I'm not going to cry, I'm not going to do anything. The only people I cry over is my family, because they're the only ones that deserve it. But I will say this. If we have cowards and gutless people that are going to run for this council, and they're on this council currently, we need to rethink what we're doing. To the Bombers, to the baseball, and to everyone that is going to listen to this, there's going to be a few of you that are happy, a few of you that think, you know what, he's speaking and, you know, he's angry. Oh, I'm not angry. Because at the end of the day, when I go home tonight, my son will call me from his room and make sure I go in there and give him a kiss goodnight. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters to me. Because that's my third team. My third team is my wife and my children. So I'm gonna end this by saying, don't mistake my kindness for weakness, because no one knows what my kindness and weakness is going to bring in the days to come. The decision was made, for those of you who don't know, which the whole world knows. I was at a function tonight for the high school, and I was overwhelmed. How many people said something to me? I said, you know, I don't have control over that, unfortunately. But you know what I do have control over? Being a stand-up person, being an honest person, and giving all my oath to the council. And I heard something last night that the plan, we have to get out the mayor. Newsflash, he's in for 4 more years. So if that's the only goal, it's a shame. Why don't we worry about the town? Let's not worry about one individual, because guess what? One individual, he's made mistakes, and he'll admit it, and I'll say that, right? But guess what? He's not the only one that's made mistakes. And as my friend, two steps away from me, Councilman Coletti sometimes says, with that statement, I bid you adieu.
Thank you very much. Mr. Martino, I would suggest you put your nameplate up. Although you weren't nominated to be a candidate this year for your party, you're still a councilman for another 10 months.
I might be longer, you never know. Oh, I forgot, I'm sorry. You forgot. Mayor, thank you. Baseball season is upon us, and there's a lot of free agents. I'm not going to make $10 million, but I come a lot cheaper.
Thank you. I think this is probably one of the first times I've ever heard of a sitting councilman not being endorsed by his own political party. Mr. Chertoff?
In my report, it's pretty much only progress for this evening. In regards to some DPW matters, they have been out filling some potholes. Outside of that, progress. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Coletti?
Yeah. Regarding JIF, or Joint Insurance Fund, they'll be hosting their yearly Safety Awards Breakfast on March 23rd, 8:30 a.m. at the Stony Hill Inn. The breakfast celebrates the efforts and the results of JIF's extensive safety programs. The safer we run the towns equates into less claims keeps premiums flat, and more dividends back to the town. It's a win-win-win situation. Regarding our rec department, the committee is still vetting the prospect of the multi-use facility that's located where the basketball court is on Beryl Field. There are many facets to this consideration when creating a multitude use for a facility. So they're trying to get it right. Our fire department is seeking new recruits. If you so care to join, reach out to our clerk, or you can call me at 201-797-4221, and we will guide you properly. Mayor?
Thank you. Mr. Boncino?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. First, again, I want to congratulate Officer DeGennaro, welcome him to our department. and wish him nothing but the best of success as he starts the next part of his law enforcement career. I just want to make a comment on the snow ordinance. I didn't comment earlier. I did vote no. I felt the recommendation from our chief of a 150 was adequate. But I want to commend Councilman Cherto and Councilwoman John Domenica for sticking to their guns. They believed that 200 was the right number, and they voted what they believed was correct. I'm sure they had a lot of pressure over the last couple of weeks to change their mind. But the reality is, if 150 is not the right number, we're going to revisit it next year because there is a situation in town that has to be addressed. So again, I commend them for sticking to their guns. The New Jersey SEM is going to have the gas auction coming April 4th. We just had the electric auction and signed that contract. So I should have sometime the end of this month the strike price for the gas commodity, and we should know first half of April what the gas contract would be for the New Jersey SEM auction. And then finally, I'd like to discuss, we had, if you heard in our minutes, we had a joint meeting with the library board on February 4th that I had mentioned probably about a month ago that we were having this meeting. It was a long time in coming, and I questioned the library board. Well, the whole governing body was there, but I questioned the library board about a couple of items that I thought were important. I asked what metrics they had developed so they could measure the success of the project and that the objectives of the project would be met. They really didn't have an answer for that. I asked what kind of energy audits they were going to do so they knew what type of energy consumption a potential addition would create additional cost, and then what kind of cost savings they could realize by the trades they were making on whether to update their HVAC or replace it. They really didn't have any metrics in terms of that, and in fact, I don't think the architect had done an energy audit. I asked what kind of technology plan they had in their proposal. They had no technology plan. And they're going to spend about $2 million, and we're upgrading a 4-year-old building, and we have no technology plan. So we're a little bit short-sighted there with respect to the youth in town and what they're going to need as they enter high school and college. In fact, I went to get a book at the library shortly after that meeting, a couple of weeks afterwards, and there was a fellow upstairs working on his laptop at one of the personal stations, and he had the power cord draped across the aisle to plug it in. So obviously that library wasn't designed with somebody using a laptop in mind, and the current library board isn't addressing that at all. It's kind of nowhere on their radar screen. And then I asked what kind of data they want to put a $500,000 addition on for the to accommodate the children's program. And I think the library board, to a person, said they needed more room for the children's program. I asked what kind of data drove the need to add the addition. They didn't have any data at the meeting. Now, they knew we wanted to have this meeting. You would think they would come with data in hand. They didn't have any. I researched the data. Their data for the last 4 or 5 years averaged 25 participants in a children's program. That was the average. They're planning to accommodate 100. So I'm not sure how you have data that says we have 25 participants on average, but we're planning to accommodate 100. How is that justified? I would never get away with that in work. And so that's why I posed those questions, and I didn't get any answers. I left that meeting thinking that, I think we have the knowledge on this governing body to help guide them in getting some of those metrics on the table and then making correct decisions on how that money should be spent. I looked to reintroduce an ordinance that the mayor vetoed that would give us final approval and oversight of the project, given they're using taxpayer money that they have saved to work on this project. Unfortunately, I presented a number of the state statute paragraphs for our attorney to review, and it looked like it could be interpreted either way, and I made a recommendation that we reintroduce the ordinance. Unfortunately, I didn't get the majority's support. Councilwoman, I guess she had done her own research, felt that it was really an autonomous board, and we could not simply pass that ordinance. Councilman Cherto felt like he just wanted to get something done, so his decision was, well, we just need to get something done. Councilman Coletti, he really hasn't asked a substantive question regarding the library project. It's kind of a running joke. We have a comparable project we're doing on Pump Station number 6 in the Force Main, and he would ask our borough attorney on a monthly, weekly basis, sharpen your pencil. Dollar-wise, it's about the same amount of money. And every time we met, he said, go back and sharpen your pencil. But he hasn't asked any questions regarding this near $2 million project regarding this. In fact, he talked about 5 minutes tonight, about $50 on an ordinance, but 1.7 million, there's no questions asked. And so I'm astonished, especially I'm part of a party that advocates that we're fiscally conservative and fiscally responsible, and we're just sticking our heads in the sand. So I'm not sure I could do anything more at this point. I've tried to get ourselves involved here as a governing body. There is no support. I'll just ask residents of Elmwood Park to make sure you go to the library board meetings and ask these questions. This is your money that's being spent. You should have improvements to the library. It should be a library for the 21st century. It should be able to accommodate your kids when they enter middle school, your kids when they enter high school, and your kids when they become adults, enter college, and become parents. Ask those questions, because the answers aren't there on the table right now. And I'll step back now and let the process play out, but it really is going to be incumbent upon the residents of Elmwood Park to get involved with this. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Dombrowski?
Thank you, Mayor. Chamber of Commerce, on April 24th, the Chamber of Commerce will be holding a bus trip to Sands Casino in Pennsylvania. The bus trip starts at 10 a.m. They'll meet outside across the street from the Elks Association here. It's $40 per person. You get $25 back. There'll be a box lunch and beverages on the bus. If anybody interested in purchasing a ticket, please call 201-794-0966. On our health department will be meeting this Monday here in the caucus room at 7 p.m. It is open to the public. I'm happy to say that Parkway Lanes will not be a storage facility. It has been purchased by another outfit that will maintain it as a bowling alley, and they are currently looking to fill summer leagues. So that's a good thing for Elmwood Park. We get to keep one of our staples here in Elmwood Park. And lastly, our homeowners met this past a few weeks ago. We had 2 doctors come in, a neurosurgeon and a chiropractor, that came in and talked to the residents about how to prevent falls and certain things. It was a very, very interesting meeting. This March 23rd, we will have another homeowners meeting at 7 p.m. in the Senior Center, and Sheriff Sordino will be in as the guest speaker for the evening to talk to residents and answer any questions. And just if I can, comment on Councilman Boncino about the library, I also have to take a back seat at this point and let everything play out as is, because it looks like, the arguing and fighting it's not going to end. So I'll take a back seat to whatever happens. All right? Thank you. Progress.
Mrs. G?
Thank you, Mayor. On February 20th, the council concluded our budget hearings with all department heads, and I'd like to thank all the department heads for coming forth with budget explanation for their departmental operations as well as their capital budgets that they would like to see. This week, I sent out an email to all of our council members asking them to email me any additional budget adjustments or budget concerns that they might have. That way, our clerk, Mr. Kazmark, as well as our CFO, Roy, could take it to the auditors when they meet with them this week. And also next week, we will be meeting with the auditors and our CFO to go over the budget that incorporates all of the council's itemized priorities. In regard to the Board of Ed, they're in the midst of finalizing their 2016 and 2017 budget that they plan on introducing. And some of their capital projects that they're taking into consideration is putting lights up on the turf field. Secondly, they feel that they will probably go out quickly for an RFQ so they could get the project going this summer in time for the sports in the fall. They do allow the board currently community groups to use the facilities at school, pending that they fill out a proper application and pay the applicable fees. So they feel that this would help them further utilize the fields. And additionally, it would be maybe a PA system if they do have it in their budget. The board is also looking to go forward with getting certified, so all of the members are choosing dates that they could all attend to take their classes to go further with that. We did not have a council meeting last Thursday, but I did meet in the evening with Mrs. Freitag and Mr. Bowenbeck, and we just talked about the school facilities and services offered in the town and in the schools, and just how we could further facilitate a relationship together. I'd like to thank the Centennial Committee for inviting all of us to attend the briefing they had this past Tuesday. They made a great package with a lot of different events. I made a two-sided copy, one that talks about the upcoming cabbage dinner at March 15th, and the second page lists all of the upcoming events this year. So if you could just all take a look at it, it's a group of dedicated people who are putting a lot of work and effort and time into putting everything together. Lastly, March is National Women's History Month, so I would like to acknowledge all the hardworking women in our history and all the contribution that they made throughout time. Many of these women are not written about in books, but they made a great imprint and they've taught us very valuable lessons. My mother has been an extraordinary role model for me. Her hard work provided her children with the opportunity to live out the American dream, and all the work she's done is immeasurable. This year's theme honors women in public service and government, and as a councilwoman, I was very fortunate enough to have some great female mentors. Freeholder Maura Di Nicola and Assemblywoman Holly Schapese are tireless public servants who always have the best of the constituents at heart, and thank you for mentoring me. I'd also like to acknowledge all of the women who serve on our Board of Ed, our library board, and our numerous boards within the town. Thank you for all of your hard work and contribution, and I'm glad with you guys being there, the government is starting to mirror a little more of the female population it represents. That's it.
Thank you. No report. Just to inform the public here, I have a letter here from the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, and if you think we're not following up on certain things, we have Cinco Paint, which is on the corner of the Boulevard and Van Riper Avenue. That's the building that's been vacant for years and years and years and years and years. We just received a $47,920.45 grant to do the remediation on that building. We still haven't gotten everything done to see what kind of toxins are maybe inside that building or in the dirt underneath the building. So we have this, and we have a firm that's going to be doing all of that, and eventually, if that's all cleared out, we'll be able to take that building down and do something with that property. So I think that's important, but it's tenacity, and I have to thank Mr. Kazmark for helping out on that. We've been working for many years on trying to get that done. It's finally coming to fruition, and maybe in the future, we're going to get that building torn down. We can't do anything with it until we get this full report down. Other than that, I don't have any other comments. Mr. Kazmark, we don't have anything after this meeting, right?
No, sir, just a public hearing, and then we'll be able to adjourn.
Okay. May I move anyone in the public who wishes to be heard?
Rich Kowinski, 42 Walnut Street, Elmwood Park. On the snowplow ordinance, I'm a little dismayed about your opinion about the 150, but I see your point. However, 270 tickets, I agree with Anthony and Mrs. G about that, because if you look, Bob, and you on the JIF committee, at the claims we get when they snowplow the cars we hit, because of the narrow lanes we have, that would help offset that. There are people out there, and I saw it firsthand. I've been out with those trucks when I was on the council, that do not move their cars. Now, your police and your DPW both know the seniors that can't get out of their house. They'll even help them move those cars somewhere. However, we're not going to get a handle on this until we do something drastic. Like West Patterson started towing, and it worked for that year, and then after that, things settled down and your streets are plowable. And the time factor will save you people, and not just 270 ticket holders, but to 9,000 or 19,000 residents in their tax dollars because of the overtime and everything else it takes on the streets. After saying that though, on the library board, I do concur with Lou. I've been on the library board since last March. The previous, some council members put me on there. I've been in the dark since I've been on there, guys. I still haven't, I just started getting bits of information, bits. But ever since I got on, I've requested it, I haven't got it. So I'm just as much frustrated as you people are. Now, the questions will be asked, are you for or against the addition? This is not the point. The point is prudent spending, guys. If we do need the addition, we'll put the addition. If we need to revamp the library to the point where we can get it into shape that we have enough room, we'll do it that way. But the data, like Lou says, I haven't even seen it. Some of the members haven't seen it. So how can you make an educated decision? Just do it? Thank you.
Anyone else who wishes to speak? I would just like to make a closing comment on the snow plowing. I don't want to go into the fines or anything else, but I do want to indicate that this council should really look at the ordinances on blowing snow back into the street. The DPW did an excellent job plowing the streets, and it really was good until Sunday. I think it was Sunday morning, when people got out and just blew all the snow back into the street. That, in my opinion, that created a greater problem than the people who were parking their cars there. I'm not discounting that. But they did an excellent job on doing that. But the residents have to, and the police have to give out tickets for you blowing the snow back in the street. It's just a terrible thing and creates a greater problem. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Dombrowski, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Cherto. Any discussion? Call the roll. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.